Hello, welcome everyone. So today, as you can see in the thumbnail, we have a video regarding the controversy whether chicken or egg which evolved first. So before we dig into that, first of all let me introduce myself. I am NILADRI, your biology educator. So today we will be clarifying the controversies regarding whether a chicken or an egg that evolved first. So before getting deep into the topic, first of all I would like to announce that from December the admission sessions are actually going on for different classes. The admissions of class 9 and 10, in fact class 11 has already begun. For the students who are presently in class 8 would be seeking their admission in class 9 in the foundation part 1 course. For the present students of class 9, they will be going to class 10. They will be foundation part 2 course that will include, both these courses will include board as well as some advanced materials regarding the entrances. And the last part, that is for the class 11, that is the NEET 2025 batch, the students those who are presently in class 10. For them we have this NEET 2025 aspirants, the batch. For all these batches admissions are actually going on and will be continued up to the month of January. So before actually we dig into the video or the topic, it was just an introduction, that rather an information that I would like to share, that all these admissions have all these classes actually have two batches presently. Later on the class 11th batch, that is the 2025 NEET batch, will have 4 batches. Presently the batches are batch 1A and 1B, that will start in April. Batch 3 and batch 4 will be started in May or June. Means one will start in May and the other will start in June. Batch 3 and batch 4 for class 11. And for all these classes admissions are presently going on. For the present class 11 batches, the admission sessions are actually a bit closed now. And for 12 you are already the aspirants of next year, so there is no admission. So definitely if you think that it is helpful to study with faction, you can take your admission as early as possible. So now let's start the video. Rather the topic was which came first, whether it was the egg or it was the chicken that evolved first. So this is actually the first video of the series where I will try to take 10 minutes on the topic every day, or I think weekly 3 or 4 videos I will make regarding in 10 minutes some core concepts. So before we start, some of you might think whether this topic is important from NEET point of view. See, the conclusion is not important. What conclusion we will derive, that the answer is egg or the answer is chicken, that conclusion is actually not important from the NEET point of view, but rather the process which we will discuss is important, because that process is in your NCERT class 12 book in the chapter of evolution. So for understanding the topic, the individual subtopics that I am going to teach right now, you must go through them because they are there in your class 12 NCERT NEET. I am again telling that the conclusion is not important, but the process that we will see, whether egg evolved first or the chicken, that process is further important. Clear? So let's dig into the topic of evolution, actually how that evolution took place. So let's start. This is an evolutionary clock where 1 hour is equivalent to 570 million years. I am recalling again, 1 hour in this clock is equivalent to 570 million years. So in that evolutionary clock, here you can see there was the evolution of fish, land plants, insects and others, where we see that the evolution of human, if we take it a clock, human came at the last minute of last hour. If we take evolution as a clock, from where evolution started and evolution till today, because we know evolution is a non-ending process. It is inevitable, it cannot be stopped, evolution is continuous, it will occur. So definitely, if this is a clock of 12 hours, when human came in the picture of evolution is just in the final minute of the final hour. So we are that much new for the term of evolution, yet we have studied a lot about it. So let us dig into the topic. What actually came first, hen or egg? Before that, we need to go through a topic known as the brief account of evolution. It is there in your class 12 NCERT book. Clear? So let's start. Evolution says around 2000 million years ago. So this is an abbreviation MYA, and that MYA is actually million years ago, and all standard textbooks and reference book use this BYA, MYA, billion years ago and million years ago. The book says, in NCERT it is written clearly that around 2000 million years ago, the first cellular form of life evolved. It's the time when actually the first cellular form of life evolved. So here we have heard about the term coacervates. There are the first cellular forms, we have heard about that. So it is the cellular form of life that came into existence around 2000 million years ago, but we are going gradually into our topic. Around 500 million years ago, there were the evolution of invertebrates. Clear? That is, the invertebrates came into the picture of evolution around 500 million years ago. And 350 million years ago, that is after 150 million years, after 150 million years ago, that is around 350 million years ago back from today, we see the evolution of jawless fishes. We saw the evolution of jawless fish. We have heard about those terms, cyclostoma or something. Can you recall in the animal kingdom that we have heard of the term jawless fish? So around 350 million years ago, we saw that the jawless fish existed. Now, let's get deep into it. The topic is gradually going to be interesting one. The jawless fish, see, the jawless fish they developed into fishes. The jawless fish gradually developed into more developed fishes, out of which one wing has stayed as fishes as we see in modern day. As we see in the modern day, and the other subgroup, the other group evolved as lobe fin fishes. Now see, there is an important statement I am making right now. As per our idea of evolution, we might think that fishes have evolved into amphibians, amphibians have evolved into reptiles, reptiles into aves, that is birds, and finally mammals. The statement is true, but not as it seems actually. It's not that all the fishes have changed them into amphibians. One group remained as fish, while the other group will develop as amphibian. Now this lobe fin fish, we know that fishes, they are completely aquatic in nature. Their habitat is aquatic. But these lobe fin fishes, they have a property cause of which they can spend some time in land. That is, the habitat now became terrestrial. That is not for the entire day or completely, but they can at least spend some of their times in the land, which led ultimately to the evolution of early amphibians. I am not going into the study of fossils, which was the first fossil of amphibian, what is ichthyostega. I am not going detail into that. I am telling that the group called fish that evolved as one group has evolved in modern day as fish, it remained fish as we see today, and the other group that were called lobe fin fishes, they can spend some of their time in the land, which gradually developed into amphibians. Now what are amphibians? Those animals that can live in land as well as water. Those are called amphibians. So this was how the evolution of amphibians actually took place. Now as we go, the amphibians, rather I would write that the early amphibians One group developed as modern day amphibian. One group developed as the modern day amphibians, while the other group developed into stem reptiles. I know that the video is getting a bit long. I promised for 10 minutes, but let's see. It would take much time, little bit more time than 10 minutes. As you can see, it's already been 10 minutes right now. But understanding the detail is also important. What was the difference between early amphibians and reptiles? We know amphibians are the ones that can live on water and land, water as well as on land. But for amphibians, their egg would dry off in the land. The eggs that the amphibians laid, that eggs dried off in land, because of which for reproduction of amphibians they must have to go to water. So the eggs must, it is what was necessary that the egg must be laid in water. Otherwise, if the eggs were laid on land, they would dry off, which led to the evolution of reptiles. The stem reptiles, they had egg sustainable on land. Their egg was sustainable on land, and this is considered one of the most important terrestrial adaptation. Remember, mark the words. The difference between amphibians and reptiles. Amphibians can live in land, but for reproduction, amphibian must go to water, because if they lay their eggs on land, they will dry off, cause of which the eggs must be laid on water. Whereas in the stem reptiles that evolved from the amphibians, here the eggs are sustainable on land because of the thick cuticle. You know that the eggshell also has calcium carbonate that makes it hard. Gradually we see that this further divided into groups. One group is the reptiles, or what we call the modern day reptiles. The other group, we will talk about it, and the third group was mammals. This group was actually a group of archosaurs. This was a group called archosaurs group. And now we know that from amphibian there was the evolution of reptile. We know there was mammals, and there was a group called archosaurs. These archosaurs were actually the ones that evolved into dinosaurs. These were actually the group that actually evolved into dinosaurs, and there was another group called the Archaeopteryx. And interestingly, they laid eggs. And we know that they all laid eggs. If we dig deep into this topic of archosaurs, we will see. I'm writing it again. These are the group of archosaurs. One of that group evolved into dinosaurs, and the other group, subgroup rather, developed into a species called Archaeopteryx. Now, this is not actually a one-step process. We actually know that evolution is not a sudden process that will occur immediately. It took some time. Now, there are many theories why that dinosaurs extinct. Actually, this was the era. This was the era in which reptiles dominated the earth. The earth was dominated by the reptiles, the era of dinosaurs. That era is known as, we all know that era is called the Jurassic era, during which the dinosaurs actually dominated the earth, or rather we say that the reptiles dominated the earth. Rather, the extinction of dinosaurs is not clear. The NCERT says maybe due to some environmental disturbances, due to some meteoroids, the dinosaurs might have gone extinct. The other line of NCERT says dinosaurs might have evolved into birds, but NCERT also says that the truth must lie in between. So, there is not a clear idea how the dinosaurs became extinct, but we see that another group known as the Archaeopteryx has also evolved. Now, what's so special about this group? This group, when we studied their fossil, we found that they share characters of both reptiles and birds. Clear? They share the characters between both reptiles and birds. So, when the Archaeopteryx might be when the Archaeopteryx laid eggs. This incident was around 150 million years ago. See, the dinosaurs when entered the era that was around 240 million years ago, and later a group of Archaeopteryx that laid eggs maybe around 150 million years ago. At that phase we saw that the egg had a broad end and a narrow end. This is a narrow end and this one is the broad end, and must be, see, since the evolution is taking place, I have already said for evolution this term is very necessary, mutation. Mutation is a sudden change that leads to evolution, and evolution itself is a gradual change. This is something we already know. Mutation is a sudden change in any genetic sequence, whereas evolution is a gradual change. But mutation's outcome is evolution. Now, when we actually see this egg, we must have considered that there were some reptiles, maybe there were some dinosaurs, and gradually there were some mutations inside these eggs. There were some mutation inside the eggs, cause of which the result was a proto-chicken. The result was a proto-chicken which further evolved into chicken because the mutation, it took place in the egg. The mutations we talk of, it took place in the egg itself, cause of which the species inside, the organism inside had some visual changes, had some morphological as well as anatomical changes. I am telling you again, this is the egg, there is an organism. Now, there is some mutation. There must have been actually some mutations, cause of which inside this embryo, this is an embryo, inside this embryo there was morphological and anatomical changes. And these changes led to the formation of this species known as proto-chicken, as I have written here. Now, this proto-chicken further developed into a new species called chicken, which we further annotate as the Gallus species, where the common name is Gallus, the scientific name, the Gallus species, which is the modern day chicken. So clearly the answer is the egg had some mutation, and as a result of mutation there were development of proto-chicken, and from that proto-chicken, chickens actually evolved. The modern day chicken actually evolved. That is, it's clear that the egg was not of chicken, the egg was of a reptile, or rather the egg was of an Archaeopteryx or some other modern day reptile, where mutation must have occurred that led to morphological and anatomical changes, and this led to the formation of proto-chicken, which further developed into chicken. That is, it is essential that the egg must have evolved faster, because the mutation took place within the egg that resulted in the formation of chicken we see today. So scientists had proven it from around 1859. At around 1859, it was already proved that the eggs evolved fast. Proving the egg came first since 1859. Scientists have already proved with the theory of evolution. So say this is the dinosaur, the egg evolved and led to there were some mutations. See, there were some mutations that led to the formation in the egg, that led to the formation of this species. When this species laid their egg, there was some mutation that led to the formation of this species. So gradually we can see that the mutation took place in the egg, where due to that mutation there were some morphological and anatomical changes that led to the formation of chicken. And that's still not a one-step process. There must have been some intermediate species as well, but as per our knowledge till today, we know that there were some intermediate species of proto-chicken which further developed into chicken. So the answer is clear. I am telling you, since 1859 it was proven that the egg evolved fast, where due to some mutations there were the formation of chicken. With some intermediate groups, the one we know is the proto-chicken. Clear? So I hope this much of information is enough. The conclusion itself is not necessary from your examination point of view, which evolved fast, but the process that I discussed, all the slides that I have used today, this is there in your NCERT. That particular point is there in your NCERT. So the process itself was important to have a brief idea about the evolution. The next part of it will actually go into the mammals, that how mammals have evolved. But in our today's video, we were concerned about our topic which evolved faster, and now I think you have a clear-cut idea. And in our next video, rather, we will be discussing about these scientists in detail. For this video, it already took about 20 minutes. So I was unable to complete in 10 minutes, but the next video about this scientist and his contribution to evolutionary biology, we will study in our next video that will be coming tomorrow at the same time, that is at 10:30 am. Till then, thank you, and if you liked it, do share it with your friends and relatives as well. Thank you.